They say an overnight success is 10 years in the making, and you know what? It's true. While it's nice to think a new superstar has just popped up out of nowhere, more often than not they've been toiling away, working at their craft and waiting for their big break to arrive. When it does, all this experience is used to take advantage of it, and that's that. They're away to the races, and it's just wonderful to see. All this effort, however, is capable of manifesting itself in many different ways, namely absolutely crazy cameos that seem almost unbelievable with hindsight. How could DDP, who would go on to become a multi-time WCW champion, once have a role as a driver at WrestleMania 6? He did though. That was his job that night, to pretend to be a chauffeur as other people took centre stage. That's wrestling for you though. I'm Simon from What Culture, and this is 10 before they were famous cameos you won't believe. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to stay notified. Ding, ding, done. Number 10, Bobby Roode. Straight up, during a SmackDown episode in 2001 featuring Triple H, a policeman's face was caught on camera. You want to know who that man was? That's right, it was Bobby Roode. Following the usual route of up-and-coming wrestler being used as an extra on WWE TV, the real joy here was that 15 years later he would be shaking the game's hand as he debuted in NXT. If that's not a fun bit of trivia, I don't know what is. Roode would return to under-the-radar segments too when we turn our attentions to Jacked, a short-lived and bizarre WWE program that mixed nothing matches with highlights from Raw and SmackDown. Why it existed, no one knew because the company never treated it like it mattered, but it shone in the sense it would give you a heads up of wrestlers coming through the ranks. There are loads of names you can pull out here which would surprise, and Mr. Roode was one of these faces. Taking on Billy Kidman in 2003, the real thing to focus on is Bobby's bleach blonde hair. It's like looking at the sun with no glasses. He also seems to have the secret to eternal youth. Seriously, ignoring the change in hair colour, Roode looks almost exactly the same back then as he does now, and that's terrifying. Number 9, Sarah Logan. These days we all know Sarah Logan as the rough and ready country girl who enjoys kicking ass with the Riot Squad. Before this, however, she was first on WWE TV when she appeared as a makeup artist and concession stand assistant on episodes of Raw. On the 1st of September 2014 edition, for example, she touched up the Miz's stage makeup before, during and after a tag team match. 2 months later, on 24th of November, she was playing the role of a concession stand worker and interacting with both Kane and Ryback. Logan would go through lots of these guises too, as she was also a rosebud for Adam Rose and in spoof commercials with The Miz and Damien Sandow. She's a rare example of someone who has appeared as an extra playing multiple characters. They all happened within one calendar year. Plus, she then went on to break onto the main roster. Kind of inspiring, really. Always believe in your dreams. Number 8, Johnny Gargano. This one is wonderful, all things considered. Before he even had a name in the WWE, Johnny was known as Cedric Von Hausen. No, that is not a joke. He was the most famous Liechtensteiner to ever appear on WWE television and had one of the best outfits you're ever likely to see. He looked like stereotypical Europe had just thrown up on him. On the 27th of March 2000 episode of SmackDown, however, Gargano pulled on his funny little hat, dressed up like an extra from Jack and the Beanstalk, and was promptly crushed by MVP. You should go out of your way to see this, because it's just so ridiculous. Years later, Gargano would tear down the house at NXT TakeOver Chicago 2 against Tommaso Ciampa in a world-class street fight that went over 35 minutes. And I bet if anyone had told you that 10 years prior, you would have been punched in the face. I imagine Gargano was secretly proud of this at the time as well. Just appearing on WWE programming is pretty cool, even if you have to dress like a plonker. Number 7, all the Rosebuds. Go and find any picture of the Rosebuds and you'll start to notice a lot of recognisable faces. There's Becky Lynch, Elias, Simon Gotch and Braun Strowman, and they all look like they're having the best of times alongside Adam Rose and his band of bizarre warriors. It's not like being part of this group hurt them either, as Lynch, Elias and Strowman are all now proper stars on either Raw or SmackDown. There's other names we can mention too, including James Ellsworth, Carmella and Alexa Bliss. Even Impact Wrestling talent like Tessa Blanchard and Sami Callihan have pulled on their party gear to dance around like idiots, and all of them should thank Adam Rose for their careers. Maybe. No. Let's hope WWE does the same with No Way Jose's conga line and launches yet even more heroes towards us. Although I imagine No Way hopes his fate doesn't go the same way as Adam Rose. Number 6, the Hardy Boys. This is the kind of stuff I enjoy. Before they were trying to kill themselves in a wrestling ring, the Hardy Boys were doormen at a King of the Ring show that featured Mabel and Savio Vega. This happened in 1995 when the Hardys had to stand idly by a Regal entranceway and just open the door when a wrestler was ready to walk down the aisle. I still think it's awesome though, because again, imagine being able to tell your mates that. It's not the worst story in the world, even if you didn't go on to become WWE legends, but they did, because as we know 4 years later on their very same pay-per-view, Jeff and Matt beat Edge and Christian to become the new #1 contenders for their tag team titles. Moreover, the pair look so young here, it's amazing they were let out of the house to begin with. That's mostly because they were so young. The Hardys never messed around, knew they wanted to be wrestlers, and did whatever they could to get there, including this. Number 5, Rob Van Dam. In 1997, a young Rob Van Dam bounced onto WWF TV and showed a much larger audience what ECW fans already knew. He was damn good at what he did and could be a success no matter where he plied his trade. That wasn't always the case when he was between the ropes. A decade before establishing himself as Mr. Monday Nights, Van Dam appeared in a skit with Ted DiBiase and Virgil, during which he agreed to kiss the $1 Million Man's foot for a cool $100. Going down in 1987, it was part of DiBiase's ongoing mission to prove he could buy anyone, and the future world champ, who was just 16 years old here, was no different. The youngster wittingly got down onto his hands and knees, looked up at the heel, and then crouched down to plant a kiss on his boots. Imagine an RVD telling Ted, "Hey, guess what? One day I'm going to be holding that big gold belt, and you will never have it." Can't write that stuff. Number 4, Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte. 2014 was a breakout year for Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair. Alexa Bliss would have to wait a little longer to make her mark, but she'd already been earmarked by WWE management. All these women had very big futures, and that was no secret. For that very reason, the trio were handpicked to make their WrestleMania debuts at Mania 30 during Triple H's entrance. Walking to the top of the rampway with the game, the threesome helped Triple H remove his over-the-top ring attire, and I think they would have got a kick out of it. It was only a small part, sure, but even doing that in front of a huge crowd at Mania? Worse than a kick in the teeth. It's also a real sign of the times. Given how big NXT and the women's division are today, doubt this would happen again. Candice LeRae, Lacey Evans and Nikki Cross ain't doing that, because fans would know who they were instantly. Number 3, CM Punk. Just over 5 years before facing John Cena at the history-making Money in the Bank 2011, CM Punk was pulling on a suit, grabbing his Tommy gun, and playing a gangster for Cena's entrance routine at WrestleMania 22. Talk about a change. As Punk held on to the side of the car and attempted to look mean, he must have wondered if he'd someday have the chance to headline Mania himself. The answer, as anyone who has closely followed his career will know, is that he wouldn't. Sadly, despite being one of WWE's top names for years, this was as close to the headline slot as Punk would get. Unless you count the Undertaker match as a main event, but no one does, unless you work backstage for the company. It wasn't the first time he made a cameo on TV though. In 2003, Punk briefly appeared in a backstage segment with Brock Lesnar. And who could have guessed that Lesnar would be surpassing the man who once played a fan of his as the longest reigning world champ of the modern era come 2018? Nobody, unless you're a damn liar. Number 2, Cesaro and EC3. During a segment where Triple H and Shawn Michaels were in their "we don't care about anything" phase in 2006, a couple of security guards were seen in the background. One was Cesaro, the other was EC3. The best part was, you could almost see the Swiss Superman start to laugh as Triple H boasts that Stephanie McMahon got married to the man with the world's largest penis, and I'm not making that up. While he almost cracked, however, the same can't be said for Ethan Carter III, who stood there the entire time with a stern face. Neither man really did much here, and once more, their sole job was just to fill up a camera shot, but given what they've achieved today, it's quite the beginnings. I bet no one even blinked an eye 12 years ago. Everyone was too busy laughing at HBK hawking merchandise. Number 1, Randy Orton. This really is one of those blink and you'll miss it moments. On the 7th of September 2000 edition of SmackDown, a babyface Randy Orton was shown with his arm around a woman as they enjoyed some drinks in a nearby bar. Amazingly, next to him is Doug Basham, making this like some sort of weird dream. Orton wasn't on screen for long. The camera soon panned to Farouk and Bradshaw of the APA, who had come to the bar looking for a fight. They'd get one, but not from Randy. The Dudley Boys showed up instead, and the two slapped each other around. Orton wouldn't be seen again on the main roster until making his full-blown debut in 2002, and yet here he was like some sort of live Getty image. Did alright for himself though, didn't he? As I say these words, he's a 13-time world champ. You smashed it, Randy. Smashed it.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe below, and if you're looking for more content like this, then try a few things that are floating about around my ears. Might be fun. I can't promise it though, but it might be.